Can I tell you something? For years, I was the phone police. Let me explain. For several years, I recorded my yoga classes for an online streaming platform, and I taught with a very sensitive wireless microphone. If someone's phone rang in class, or even if a text message came through, it would glitch the mic and mar the recording. So I asked everyone in class to switch to airplane mode or turn their phones off completely. And I told myself I was protecting the sanctity of the practice. I'm Sage Rountree, and this is Yoga Teacher Confidential, Secrets of Becoming a Great Yoga Teacher. Today, we're talking about technology in class. Phones, watches, timers, the whole buzzing, chiming reality of teaching yoga right now. My thinking on this has shifted a lot over the years, and I want to walk you through where I have landed because I think it will take some pressure off you and make your room more welcoming at the same time. I write about this in my book, The Professional Yoga Teacher's Handbook, and my thinking has kept evolving since I wrote that book in 2020. Here is a reflex a lot of us share. A phone goes off in class and something in us tightens. We read it as rudeness, as a lack of commitment, as a sign the student isn't really here. And so we make a rule, phones off every time, no exceptions. For some students, that rule is a gift. An hour with no notifications, no pull toward the inbox, sign me up. For the right person, that's exactly the downtime they came for. But for others, it's a real imposition. Think about the doctor who's on call, the parent who left a new baby with a first-time sitter, the person waiting on a call that could change their week. When you require every device off, you're asking some people to choose between your class and their actual responsibilities. Let me tell you the moment that changed my mind. I was teaching a workshop at an REI back in my touring days as a sponsored yoga teacher, which is a whole story of its own. And if you want that backstory, go listen to episode 71, What Yoga Teacher Sponsorships Really Look Like. It's all about the glamour and the grind of life as a traveling yoga teacher, and I'll link it in the show notes. During this workshop, one of the students kept fidgeting with a little device on her hip, glancing at it, adjusting it. And I caught myself thinking, wow, that's disrespectful. Can she really not put her pager down for 1 hour-long workshop? Then I realized it wasn't a pager, it was her insulin monitor. I think about that moment all the time. I had written a whole story about that student, her attitude, her commitment, her respect for me. And the truth was, she was managing her health while showing up to learn. The story I had written said far more about me than it did about her. What I know now is this. Everyone in your room is living a whole life you can't see. They're making their own adult decisions. I am not the smartphone police. I am not the device police, and neither are you. As long as a phone isn't actually distracting the whole room, it's absolutely okay with me. Now, I want to be just as clear about the other side of this because this is where I don't soften at all. Two things are non-negotiable for you as the teacher, and they both come down to one word, consent. First, you, the teacher, should not be on your phone during class in any way that pulls you out of the room. Your attention is what your students came for. Second, and I mean this pretty hard line without any wiggle room, never photograph your students without their explicit consent. Never, and under no circumstances do you photograph students in Shavasana. Those resting bodies trusted you enough to close their eyes in a room full of strangers. A photo of someone at rest posted to your social media without their yes is a betrayal of that trust, even when your intentions are sweet. If you want a class photo for any reason, ask first and frame the picture so no one is identifiable unless they've told you yes. The resting bodies are always off limits. So that's the balance I want you to hold. Be relaxed about your students' firms and be absolutely firm toward yourself about presence and consent. When you're relaxed about the small stuff, students trust you on the big stuff. And this ease is what makes the firmness land. Let's get practical. Here's how I actually handle technology in the room now. Number one, meet students in the middle with the Do Not Disturb feature. Most of us feel like the only options are phone off or phone on, but focus mode and Do Not Disturb modes let a student silence everything while keeping an emergency line open. The on-call doctor still gets the call that matters. The group chat stays quiet. You can mention this at the top of class. If you need to stay reachable, do not disturb is your friend, and you've solved the problem without forcing anyone to choose. Number 2, remember that the phone might be the accommodation. That device you're tempted to judge could be a continuous glucose monitor. It could be a captioning app for a student who's hard of hearing. It could be a translation app for someone practicing in their second language, or a medication reminder and timer. Sometimes the phone isn't a distraction from the practice, it's the thing that makes the practice possible. 3, narrate your own use of technology. When you use your phone as a tool, say so out loud. I'm just using my phone as a timer. I'm using the phone to adjust the music. I'm reading my notes here. It clears the air and it models the same trust you are extending to your students. I'll often add, don't worry, I'm not texting while I teach. Sometimes I'll say, don't worry, I'm not putting in my takeout order during class. A little honesty, a little humor, and then nobody is wondering what you're doing. Number 4, and this is one of my favorites, let your notes point you back toward repeating your class. If you're buried in a phone full of sequence notes, you're not really with your students. The fix is simple. Teach a class you know well enough to look up from. That doesn't mean memorizing something brand new every week. When you repeat your sequence week over week, you need fewer notes, you're more present, and your teaching gets sharper every time you run it. Repetition is how the craft develops. The same class teaches you something new on the third pass that you couldn't see on the first. Tip number 5, record yourself on purpose to get better. This might be the most valuable use of technology in your whole teaching practice. It is genuinely good practice to record your own class for self-assessment, to hear your cues, to catch your filler words, and to feel your pacing from the back of the room. In fact, it is the very first assignment I give teachers in my Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing mentorship membership, and my July cohort is doing it right now. The key is simple. Explain to your students what's happening, that you are recording yourself for your own self-assessment, why you're doing it, and that it's all part of you working to become a better teacher for them. Position the camera so anyone who would rather not be on film is out of frame, and you have honored consent while doing the most professional thing a teacher can do, studying their own craft. This is the kind of work we do together in the mentorship program. If it sounds useful, you can learn more at sagerountree.com/mentorship or the link in the show notes. Tip number 6, honor the house rules. If you teach in a studio that has its own explicitly stated phone policy, that is theirs to set. Your warmth can live inside their container. And one more tip on humor. When a phone does go off, inevitably goes off. You are allowed to laugh it off or just to ignore it. I've heard teachers say something light. If you're doing this pose correctly, you'll hear a little chime, and then just keep right on going. Just make sure the joke lands with the room and never on the person whose phone rang. You never know if that buzz was the babysitter or the doctor's office or the insulin monitor. Laugh with everyone, never at someone. So here's what I want you to carry out of this episode. You don't have to police the devices in your room. Everyone in front of you is a capable adult living a life you can't fully see. And your job is to create a space where they can practice in the way that serves them. Stay relaxed about the phones. Stay firm about your presence and their consent. And use technology, especially that recording yourself habit, to keep refining your craft. If you want a community of teachers thinking about this with you, come join the Zone. It's my free community for yoga teachers over at comfortzoneyoga.com. And if you want to go deeper on building classes you can teach with confidence and presence, the mentorship is at sagerountree.com/mentorship. If this episode was useful, I would love a rating or a review. It helps other teachers find the show. Thank you for spending this time with me. This is Yoga Teacher Confidential. I'm Sage Rountree, and I'll see you next time with breaking news. All yoga pants are see-through.